It is the year 105 in Pyongyang, and that, if nothing else, speaks to its place in the world. A country born through war runs on its own time, a contrarian to the world. We can't show you much of what you already know about North Korea. Nothing of its nuclear tests, its prisons, or its many, many poor.
Well, let's go, guys. Yeah.
Arriving here well aware of the restrictions on foreign journalists, we could only hope for a small window into the background.
So after the liberation of President Kim Il-sung,
You don't have to ask for a history lesson here, it is given.
so we love, we miss of President Kim Il-sung.
A guided visit to a shrine to the country's founder, Kim Il-sung, is virtually required. 105 years ago, he was born here, and that's when North Korea's calendar starts to count.
Many people, the foreigners visit here, please come here. Please come here and also see by yourselves. And also they could realize how the country, how Korea is.
More people are visiting, and like us, must follow the rules. For one, you can't even leave your hotel without a minder, or what they prefer to call here, a guide. In my experience, authoritarian countries open the doors to foreign journalists during wars or something approximating elections. Showcasing political gatherings is another occasionally shareable spectacle. Here, it was the first ruling party congress in 36 years, an elaborate display of support for the leader, Kim Jong-un. We did have a brief glimpse inside the Congress, where we were as much of a spectacle for them as they were for us. Staged and brief as it was still a revealing window into the exceptional effort this country still puts into showing loyalty to its leaders. You don't see images of 33-year-old Kim Jong-un on the streets. Apparently, he prefers it that way. But he is omnipresent on television, state television. And with the ubiquity of the public images of his father and grandfather, the required reverence for their descendant is implicit. Those pins, a quiet declaration of allegiance, and the only required uniform. The reverence for the family verges on the religious. Kim Jong-un's authority cannot be questioned, and he comes up in every interview.
As a member of this country, I feel only pride. I only believe in my party and my comrade Kim Jong-un.
Amnesty International says failing to show loyalty to the leader is a serious offense, that the country is violating every conceivable human right. It says tens of thousands of people are detained in political prison camps, that public execution is common. Among the imprisoned is a Canadian pastor, Hyun Soo Lim, sentenced to life with hard labor for a conviction of plotting to overthrow the regime. Our requests to interview him were turned down. The officials decided where we would go each day. In tour after tour of a model farm, museums and factories, we heard about North Korean achievements and self-reliance, the country's mantra, and always about how many times Kim Jong-un visited. On the walls at this factory, a poster urges revolution and construction. This one celebrates the country's satellite launch in February as a cutting-edge breakthrough. In a silk factory, motivational nationalist music plays non-stop. Like everyone we speak to, 23-year-old Hwang Young-ae praises the leader. She also says the more she works, the more she gets paid. That's a relatively new concept in a country proud of its socialist system and where the state used to set what workers get paid. There are other changes. Now there is what some call a Pyonghattan emerging. There's more construction and more foreign luxury cars, more cars in general, even taxis. Consumerism is on the rise. There are more stores and some accept local and foreign money, though we were only allowed to film on the outside. More people have mobile phones, though they still can't call outside the country or access the internet, nor can they travel or speak freely. Amnesty International also says the country is still facing a food shortage, that malnutrition is still widespread, and government handouts aren't keeping up. We're given a different impression at a model farm outside Pyongyang. 3,000 people apparently work here, though few were in sight. Out working, we were told. We were taken inside one of the few homes we would see in North Korea. Hong Son-suk is the wife of one of the farmers.
정말 우리가 이번에 당대회를 맞이해서
She says that as we welcome the party congress, we ought to demonstrate to the world our single-hearted might, thereby serving dear leader Kim Jong-un even better, she says. At the daycare, they have the children sing for us about past leaders and about driving the Japanese out. In another room, they make one of them pose for us with a toy gun. Throughout our visit, there seemed a real emphasis on showing us well-choreographed demonstrations, that they were happy and well provided for. That children are encouraged to thrive, even excel. And that the UN sanctions imposed because of its nuclear development were having little impact, that Pyongyang was still prospering. This, for example, did not exist just over a year ago. It is called Mireille Street, or Scientist Street, and it's a project of the current leader, Kim Jong-un. Essentially, the people who live here are scientists, teachers, professors, and academics, people who are being thanked for their service and given free housing for what they do for this country. We were given a tour of one apartment.
Bedroom for this couple.
And in another, we met 79-year-old Park In-sun, who remembers the war that brought her country to life and took her brothers away like it was yesterday.
전쟁에 대해서는
The words can't describe it all, she says. The American bastards' bombings were very intense. The entire village was burnt to the ground in just a day. War is still as much a part of the collective memory here as it is part of the infrastructure. The subway system doubles as a bomb shelter. The demilitarized zone separating North from South Korea is the most heavily armed in the world. The number of soldiers in the army here is believed to possibly exceed that in the US Army, as many as 1.3 million, but no one knows for sure. And no one really knows its precise nuclear capability, which the leader has now vowed to improve, along with the standard of living. The country that has long put the military first put on a concert to celebrate the Congress. Skipping it was not an option. Neither was it for the program to stray far from the core message. This is a country that marches to its own solitary and perilous beat. Nahlah Ayed, CBC News, Pyongyang.